Okay, so Premila, take me back about 18 months or so. What were the series of moments that led to your trigger moment to kickstart your R&T journey?
Okay, so I've never been someone who really like cared much for aesthetic, appearances, right? I've never really done that sort of thing. I've never really done my hair and nails and worried about makeup or anything like that. I don't give a crap about it. It's always about how I feel, right? So as long as I was able to work out, get a run in, you know, do what I wanted to do the classes available at the gym or whatever, and get a natural high and a good feeling about it after I left, I was happy, right? So to me, that was enough. It was never about, so whenever I saw, so that was that. But then the trigger moment was one day, well, and this probably happens every like 6 to 9 months or so. I'd see a photo of myself and think, hang on, that's not me, right? That doesn't look like me. I don't think that I look like that, right? But that thought would come and then it would just be gone, right? I'd get a bit down about it, maybe a day or so, and think, no, not even a day or so. It would impact me for a few hours. Let's put it that way, right? And then I'd think, okay, that was it. That's fine. Then I'd go off and do my own thing, and that'll be it. So it's never been that's made me think about something like R&T, right? But then around the same time as seeing this one photo of myself around my 50th birthday, out with a friend for dinner, that same weekend, maybe I went on a spa weekend with my sister-in-laws. One of them mentioned that I went with a group of people to London to Paris on a bike, London to Paris bike ride, and he had a minor heart issue on climbing, in the mountains, up in the lakes or whatever. And then I thought, how could he have? Because he's my age and he's fit, he's cardiovascularly fit. Yeah, so that kind of scared me a bit and made me realize that I need to really think about R&T now, because I've been sitting on the fence, as you know, for 3 years from my video clip. Because I say 3 years because that's when I first saw a transformation of somebody that I knew, Sanj. Yeah. And so I could relate to that transformation. I could see that transformation for what it was, which is it's real, and it happened to a person that I know. So before that, if I come across anything like that in social media, it will just be over my head. I wouldn't even look at it again. It would mean nothing to me, and I would have it would be like meaningless data. Yeah. But when you know somebody that had that, and you think, okay, so that was 3 years ago, right? So fast forward 3 years, I'm thinking, should I do this? Because I'm really at the bottom, the bottom. At the end of the day, I don't feel that I look like how I should deserve to look like, because I work out and I run and I can push weights. So why don't I look like I'm supposed to look like, right? And I managed to do it when I was 40. So I managed to get into really good shape for my 40th. But I was struggling in my late 50s to get in my late 40s in prep for my 50th to get to the place where I wanted to be, right? It started off trying from the age of 46, and I just wasn't able to get anywhere, right? It's like the game changed. And then this incident that I heard of about my friend concerned me a lot, because, I thought, all right, I need to get my health metrics baselines looked at, and I can't be, putting myself at risk. So that's where it started. And then I said to somebody, I said it out loud. I said to my sister-in-law, I'm going to join R&T on Monday. Because I knew a cohort was starting, and I don't know how. I must have done my research a couple of weeks in advance. Yeah, that's right. I had a call with somebody, one of your team members, and even then I was still on the fence, right? I wasn't going to, join R&T. That was just the furthest I got to. But then hearing about this made me, okay, I have to join. Sorry, I'm joining. And then Monday I joined. That was it.
Wow. What was the outcome of your health metrics when you did the test?
Yeah, so my metrics were, so I've got that genetically induced cholesterol. So obviously I'll always have a level of genetically induced cholesterol. However, that level can be it can be reduced if you take care of your well-being and your health and your nutrition, etc. That can be reduced, and I wanted to minimize the risk there. That was number one. And then I'm perimenopausal, right? So I had thousands of issues that were coming out of nowhere, and I really needed to get a grip on that. And so I thought that if I could get this sorted, it will help me further down the line. And I don't want to be 60 and having the same issues, make sense? Or even even my issues hurt. I don't want my issues to escalate even further in the next decade. And these things can happen really quickly, right? Before you know it, you're 55 and then you're 60 and then you think, I should have done it. So yeah, it was a time really for me to.
When you saw yourself in these pictures and you couldn't believe what you were seeing,
Yeah.
but then you said after a few hours you'd sort of forget that even happened. What was going through your mind when that happened? Why was that not enough to make you do something different?
Because I think one will always find clothes that fit, right?
Mm.
Yeah, there's always, one will always, okay, now I know what it's like to be on the other side of that, but I'll get to that later. But one will always find clothes to fit. One will always be able to look presentable in a way that most people will see as acceptable and nothing wrong with it, right? So even my friend on the day said, well, there's nothing wrong with what you look like. You look fine. You look absolutely great. And it's not like I looked god awful. It's just that it wasn't how I perceived myself to look like. Or wanted to look like that. I didn't want, if I could choose, I wouldn't choose to look like that, put it that way. And I think I've gotten away with it. I've let it go because ultimately, firstly, I didn't know what I could do differently to get to where I wanted to get to. That was probably what it was. I had no idea. I always thought I was doing everything that needed to be done to get there. That's it. I always assumed that everything I was doing was absolutely spot on, and there was nothing anyone out there could tell me any different that would increase my chances of getting to where I wanted to be. Make sense?
Yeah, got it. So, with regards to thinking you were doing everything right, it's a very common thing many people fall into of like, I'm eating all the healthy food, I'm having avocado on my toast, going to the gym a few times a week.
Yeah.
Were you following any sort of structure, or
No.
were you just in that mindset of, I'm doing the healthy things that should help me on this journey?
Okay, so there are a number of things that I discovered during R&T, right? So before joining R&T and being on that journey, I did not have any idea what portion control meant.
Okay.
In reality, I had no idea what 40 grams of avocado looked like, and versus maybe 180 grams. To me, what's the difference? That's a detail that I wasn't interested in, and I had no idea what hunger felt like. I'd never experienced it, I think, in my adult life, and that is a shocker. Because I've never been one of those intermittent fasters, never dipped into that, so I've never had a day even without food, right? So that's shocking for me, because that in itself, just goes to show that for me, and I can only speak for myself, is that I've never let myself go hungry, or even, I don't know. I've just never it's not like you're supposed to let yourself go hungry, but what I mean is I've never actually acknowledged that feeling. So that's number two. But number one was portion control. And I always thought that as long as you trained enough and hardly had any rest days, you'd be fine. But that's quite the opposite, because now I understand from R&T that I actually look forward to my recovery days. And I tell you, in my entire history of adult life, I've never said that before. I used to dread rest recovery days, but now I can manage them, and I don't go off the rails during my recovery days. But I can go on to that later. And
why did you dread them before?
Because they were days that I didn't train, and I would just think, I can do whatever, and then I ate because I had time to eat more, and there was more time to just have that extra bit of toast with avocado on, or have another, I don't know, whatever, another banana even, I mean, that's shocking in itself, having multiple bananas a day. But anyway.
Well, you raise a good point, because it's so easy to think, I've had my eggs, avocado, toast, and smoked salmon, and next thing you know, you've had about 1,000 calories just in one big brunch that you thought was really healthy. Then you have a couple of bananas with peanut butter and oats, and the next thing you know, you've hit 3.5K in the day.
Yeah, and what about when you're preparing it? You're eating it as you're preparing it. That's another meal in itself. Now I don't do that, because now I actually realize that's a meal in itself.
Yeah, it's very sneaky, especially cooking for the family, and you're doing the taste testing, and the next time the taste testing has turned into just your starters or your main course.
Yeah, that's it. So so portion control is Okay,
so you finally had this trigger moment where when your friend had a heart issue and you decided to pull the trigger. Describe the experience of overhauling a lifestyle and potentially having to control portions, do things a little bit differently than you'd done for so long. You know, you'd been, quote unquote, doing healthy things, but in a completely different way. Describe the experience of starting something new and potentially having a lifestyle overhaul.
Yeah. So historically, and I don't believe in PTs at all, because I've had them in the past and they do help to an extent. But you know what? Once you leave that PT area or day or whatever hour, that's it. You're on your own, and what you're doing the rest of the time is actually probably more important than that PT hour. So that's why I thought, well, why would R&T or something like this be any different? Because, essentially it's just telling me what to do, and then that's it. Then I can, well, how's it going to be any different? But I didn't realize that this whole overhaul piece, this whole coaching thing, this whole knowledge sharing and information sharing through on a daily basis for all types of for all the moving parts, the sleep, the nutrition, the movement, the sedentary versus the what's it called, that fidgeting, everything, the whole and the nutrition and the exercise and the strength and everything, combine the steps, combine all that, combined as a package, sort of enabled my achievements, if you like, because in the past that wasn't there, right? It was just do a class, come home and eat healthy, right, but not worry about how much I'm eating or whether it's proportionally or even following the macros, put it that way. So there was always a protein deficiency in my diet. So
what were some of the biggest myths that were busted for you in those early days of starting the journey?
Oh yeah, you can't eat carbs late at night after 6-7 p.m. That's crap. I've tried it and tested it, and I eat if I want to eat carbs at 8 p.m. And it's in my allowance, in my daily allowance, it's absolutely fine. The other myth was, they always tell you can't out-train a bad diet, but I didn't actually believe that. I always thought you could run it off or whatever, but you really can't. Not if you're trying to get to a certain physique or a composition, type, or obviously you can have a bad diet for a day or eat over your calories or over a set amount of calories a day or a week, or even it won't make any difference. But you can't do that just willy-nilly all the time, or randomly, at a random level. And also, well, you can, but you won't maintain your physique or the one you want, And the other myth was, the more you do, the more you train, the more results you'll see. That's not true. There is now such thing as, I understand about the junk volume now.
Yeah, very common from people who are used to doing a lot of running or classes. Is junk volume, where you just throw more runs at it, more classes at it, in the hopes that it helps your physique, but actually probably doesn't really help you. You're just hurting your joints more than anything.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, overuse. Yeah.
Okay, so describe the initial experience. You had a lot of myths busted for you. You'd sort of had more pieces of the puzzle connected.
Yeah.
Describe like a day in the life of like how, because you're a busy woman, you've got a full-time job, you've got kids, grown-up kids, so a lot of moving parts for you, I'm assuming. How did you initially fit this into your family life, work life, and make sure that you were able to still give your all in the other areas?
Yeah, so the first thing I did was, so when I first joined in September last year, I wasn't really fully on board with the program, just so you know. I used to just think, there's nothing that I can do on this program that will give me better results than what I already know what I'm doing. So I wasn't really on board with it all. I just kind of like tried my best to be on board with it all and engage with my cohort. But really, I didn't really buy into this whole calorie deficit thing. I didn't really understand it, firstly. I didn't understand the implications of eating well and then the basically the consequences of not eating well for just a couple of days or even just one meal, right? I didn't get the fact that, and I wasn't really going to give up my oat milk, for anybody, So there were lots of things that I refused to do, right, at the beginning.
Yeah,
I know. So from September to September to mid-October, I kind of orientated myself with the calls and enjoyed them, meeting people through the cohort. It was fun. I liked my coach and everything and liked my schedule, but not really. I was thinking, what the hell is this schedule about? There's hardly, any exercises here. Am I really doing this? And, what's it going to actually do? And I need more and, blah, blah, blah. And then that's all in my head, right? But I carried on, which is a good thing, because then somebody said to me, and it was Diwali coming up, and someone said to me, don't worry. They knew I was on the journey. They said, don't worry, it's a friend. Don't worry if you don't lose any weight over Diwali, that week. It'll be fine. And I was thinking to myself, well, I haven't lost any weight consistently for the last couple of weeks and I have not been worried. Should I be worried? And then I was thinking, oh, crap, maybe I should be worried. Okay. So then I tapped into my cohort and my coach and everything. And I noticed that, there wasn't any consistent fat loss at all. And so what I did was I really dived deep into it and I did it all. And I ticked off everything, right? So I'm ticking off everything and I'm fitting everything in. So I'm waking up early, like at 5 a.m. to do my steps in, get it all under my belt by midday so that I don't end up with a whole thousands of steps to do, right, in the latter part of the day, because can be quite stressful. So for those who find that quite stressful and circling their kitchen, etc., it's a really good idea to start your steps early and do them in small chunks. So even if it's 1,000 at a time, you will be amazed at how much that builds up. So, and then by, midday I should be on at least 7,000-8,000, and then I'm in a good place. So I did that. And I did my meal prepping. I started to formulate my meals so that I know what I was having and the timings, right? So I started to sort of get clear on that and comfortable with that. Sort of, trial and error, and it all worked really well. And I actually enjoyed the foods that I was on. So, an R&T approved. So it was all good. Everything's going to plan, right? And every week in November, I'm losing weight, right? And it's brilliant, right? So this is actually working, this whole thing. If you put it all together, it's actually working. I don't have any sleep issues because my children, like you said, are grown up. My boys are grown up. And so I can just sleep when I want and I don't have disturbed sleep. I have stress at work, but I managed to sleep through it because of my workout, I think. But anyway, and then what happened? Oh yeah, and then there came a time, and I remember you were leading the call at the time, the transformation call, and Janet was on it, one of the old timers, R&Ters, and I had actually had a calorie deficit for weeks on running, and then suddenly that took a knock, yeah. And my whole thing just disappeared. My gains had disappeared. And I was like, what the hell? So I actually remember saying that on the call that I'd actually lost it during that call, thinking, oh, this is not working. It's never going to work. Then when you unpacked it, when you helped me unpack it a bit, I realized that it was just still a bit here and a bit there that was creeping in that kind of like impacted my gains, right? So then I stopped doing that. Then I kind of realized the strictness of it all, 100% in it, right? And so I did that from December onwards, and then I got really good results by February. So I was in a really good place, and that was actually the real fat loss phase for me. That was actually when I was in it 100%. Also managed my social events around it, so that because I knew that this was it. Yeah, so this was a time that I was doing it, so that I prepared my meals and I took them with me, and I was fine about that. Although, if I'm honest, the social side of it was a kind of a challenge for me, but I overcame that slowly. In that I started off saying, oh, I can't have that and I can't have this, to a couple of months later saying, I don't want to eat that. I don't want that. I've got this instead and I'm happy with this. Or, and feeling confident about telling people that, no, I won't be drinking just to make you feel better.
Yeah.
So that happened. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to ask, what was stopping you committing at the beginning? What was how can you, if you were to go back and like talk to that person, because I don't think you're unique in that scenario where, you sort of think you know what you're doing, want to stick in your ways, don't want to commit. What would you tell that person, and why do you think that was the case? Because I think other people could benefit from hearing that.
Yeah. Okay. So we're all human, right? We're going to take a while to adapt. A, and B, we're going to make mistakes. And I think I was lucky that I was able to speak about my mistakes. So if I did eat a whole box of Lindt chocolates one day, I would tell my coach that. And my coach turned around and said to me, well, Lindt will always make chocolate. And another coach said to me, well, if you going down a motorway and you puncture one tire, you don't get out of the car and puncture the other three. So if you find yourself starting to be, I know, brilliant, hey, that changed my life, right? Seriously, because that stopped my binging from escalating to a point where it was uncontrollable, and this is like most of my life, right? So now I have a little binge. If I have a binge, it stops within like 1 or 2 mouthfuls. That's it. It doesn't go on for 7 hours.
So just to interrupt there, what was the previous experiences with binging and losing portion control? Why was that the case? And
so say if you've done a massive workout and you've eaten your food, right? You've already eaten like 70, 80 grams of avocado without realizing what you've eaten. And then you come back from a training session and you're busy at work and you think you're hungry. That's another thing. You think you're hungry. There's a difference between actually being hungry and thinking you're hungry, right? There's a lot of habitual activity going there. Me just turning to food because I think I'm hungry or I think I should eat. That's just a habitual move that I do, a habitual thing that I've always done. But you know what? When you think about it, you're not actually hungry. You might just be thirsty, or you might just need to walk in the kitchen, tidy up something and walk back and go back to your desk, with a cup of tea or I don't know what. You don't need to have another snack, which is another meal in itself. So that binging would happen. Say, for example, if I'm in a meeting or whatever, I'm in between and I've gone to the cupboard and I've seen some chocolate that I quite fancy, dark chocolate, whatever it is. I've taken a bite of it and then I've had another bite and then I have another bite. And then I think, oh, well, I've done that now. I might as well have some toast with jam on it. That's the binge that I'm talking about.
How long was that going on for you? Is that a lifelong habit you've had before?
Yeah, absolutely lifelong habit. And my siblings all have it as well.
Oh, wow. Okay. And do you think, why do you think it is? Is it?
I don't know, I really don't know. Maybe because when we were young, there was 4 of us, and if you didn't eat quickly enough, you missed out. I don't know. I have no idea.
Okay.
I have no idea. Honestly, I might ask them that, but I have no idea.
Yeah, fair. Okay, so you kickstarted the journey, started getting some results early 2023.
Yeah, but I only got results because I spoke up about. You have to speak up in your cohort and tell your coach when you've done something that you shouldn't have done, so that they can help you unpack that.
Yeah. Talk about that then. How do you accept that you may not be on the mark of what you should be doing? Because embarrassment and fear of judgment is very real, especially in a coaching environment.
Yeah, it is. But the way I thought about it is I've paid for this. So I have to be honest here, because if I'm not honest, I won't get a response that will help me move from A to B. And I just need to know. And I was interested in whether this coaching was up to the mark and what I need, what was I getting for my, my money. So everybody, like Ed has alluded to this in the past, you've paid good money for a program, for a transformation, coach, etc., and the framework. So if you're not leveraging it you shouldn't worry about the embarrassment, because I tell you why, because you kind of might be helping somebody else. Because once you speak up, once I spoke up in my cohort, I found others were speaking up too after me. So it's almost like then there's a realization that you're all in the same boat and you're all making mistakes, but at different times to each other. Yeah.
I love that. So speaking up and accepting that you may not be on the mark could really help you get going. And then you started seeing results. Yeah. And then, if we fast forward a little bit into sort of March, April, May, then you decided to pull the pin and book in a photo shoot. Let's describe.
Way before that, though, I have to say that fat loss is not easy, right? You'll get to like the week 10 or 8 or 9 or something, and you'll start crying. I did, because, it will start to exhaust you, But you just need somebody there, like I don't know. For me, it was my brother who I rang up and said, I don't think I can do this anymore. But then you have to remind yourself what you look like in the last check-in photos. And if you looked really good, and you will have done by now, if you've had consistent loss for like 10 weeks, you'll start to look amazing. And you've just got to keep that picture in your mind about how amazing you looked, and you don't want to reverse that. at the moment at this point in time, because you're on such a good roll here that you need to be able to look even better that following Sunday when you do your photos. And what's going to make you do that is if you just carry on, literally tick off each piece, carry on. So it's almost like, remember what you look like. So see something, see your photo, remind yourself of what you've achieved by following everything. And then in order for you to not lose the plot and carry on, you need to remind yourself again what you look like. So just keep reminding yourself of the benefit.
What was driving you to feel emotional and cry?
Probably just because I was tired. But
okay.
But then you have to be conscious of that. So you have to know yourself well enough to know that if this is getting too much, and you start crying or you're emotional about it, then you've just got to take some time and rest it out. So you've got to find some time in your day to have a power nap. And if that's not possible, because I know it might not be for everybody, then just, go to bed an hour earlier, switch off your phone, or I don't know, do something that gives you that extra rest, because guarantee you feel like much better after that, after you've addressed that, rather than go on a downward spiral.
Well, that's probably what it is, in that it's the first time that you're not used to using your use of crutches. So if, in an emotional state, you probably normally just eat and power on and just sort of just keep eating more. Whereas this is probably the first time you didn't resort to that habitual behavior. And so you have to sit with the emotions and sit with that feeling of not having a crutch to save you.
Yeah, exactly it. Because, most of us who go on a fat loss journey are new to this. We've never experienced this before. We've always had ample food coming in all the time, regularly, and we think that, so we've never had it. They're all new stuff that you deal with. But, you find out about yourself actually through it. So, yeah.
We'll come on to the grind very shortly.
Then the photo shoot. The reason why I didn't want to ever join R&T 3 years ago when I saw it, is because I never wanted to put myself out there. Firstly, I don't talk to people. Like, this podcast is new territory for me. And I'm only doing this to help people, by the way. Because I think it might be of value to some new people. But what I want to say is that I never would have wanted to put myself out there. It was a big thing for me. I don't go for, stuff like that. And I never actually intended on doing a photo shoot ever, right? So when I went into this, I thought, no way am I doing a photo. Yeah. And now look, right, I tell you, that photo shoot, and I only did a photo shoot because of the shred challenge that you created. One of the conditions was that you have to do a photo shoot. Book a photo shoot in, and I'm a compliance man. I'm compliance. That's my role,
Oh, yeah.
So I can't not be compliant. So I then booked my photo shoot, and then boy, did the accountability, go up by 100%. Yeah, if not more. Number one, and number two, I think I'm going to do a photo shoot in my life again. I need to see some more muscle definition, So I'm going back in one day. I don't know when.
Well, if anyone hasn't seen Premila's photo shoot pictures, check out her case study, because her pictures were very impressive, and you would not think that you were over 40, over 50 in those pictures.
Yeah. So that's how I was before, but then that's what happened. It's amazing how much you discover about yourself, is what I'm saying.
What did you learn then in that sort of period of the grind and getting ready for your photo shoot? What did you learn about yourself?
There's another thing. Yes, I learned that through the grind. I thought that you learn resilience. You increase resilience big time, big time, right? Because before I was always one of those, I'm a comfort queen, yeah. I'm basically a princess in my house. I'm thoroughly spoiled. If I'm tired, I don't lift a finger, and that happens quite a bit, yeah. Yeah, I live with 3 guys, yeah, so I can play on my feelings quite a lot, yeah, and I get away with murder. But and through the grind, if that wasn't the grind, and if it wasn't R&T, I would not have lasted a day of that. But the fact that the whole structure, the whole process made me realize that actually I can do this. To do 15 or 20,000 steps a day, to work out strength, get PBs and do your cardio 3 to 4 times a week and live on 1,100 calories for that long is no laughing matter. It's not easy, but you somehow get through it, right? and you get through it through personal resilience and determination. And it's amazing how much you are actually capable of. And it's mind over matter, right? And before, it was always, no, my body says no, that's it, it's had enough, and it won't lift a single rep, so see you later. But now it's like, no, don't be such a wuss. You're eating these calories, you need to push more, you can push more, and you do push more.
What were some of the hardest days of the grind for you?
I think, you know what, in the grind, it was scary for me because I used to get angry a lot. And then I used to think, then I remembered one of the RNTs, Diran, said to me, look, you chose to do this fat loss phase, and you've put yourself in, it's nobody else's fault. So there's no point taking it out on, I don't know, passers-by as you drive and try and run them over, or your family or anyone else. Just, think about it and set aside that anger and learn to, cope with it and sort of reflect on it and understand that it's your decision and that you can do better next time, you can behave better. So anger kind of subsided when I took a step back and thought about it. The hunger wasn't so bad because I had worked out the timing of my meals to a point where there was never really any real big hunger per se, but the effect of not having as many calories will have some effect on you, right? Mentally.
How did you how did your approach with your family change during this period? Whether it's how you cooked, how you guys live, socialize, etc. What was the impact or changes in your family, especially your boys?
Yeah, so I did used to do a lot of this, right? I used to go before I used to go on walks and bring back like that rucksack full of food for them, like nice food,
Rucksacks.
Yeah, I used to like have a rucksack, and then I'd have bags on the side, and I'd carry this nice food for them, that would be my thing. But then I was in the grind, and I was thinking, do you know what? I'm sorry, but no, I don't eat all this food, and I don't need to do all this. They've got plenty of financial money, access to finance. If they want to get these nice foods, they can go out and buy them themselves. They're grown-ups. So it was always about me then afterwards. It was more about me. Its focus was about what's in my best interest, what I need to do in terms of, because I used to come back in a calorie deficit with bags of shopping, and it used to kill me, because that was like a workout in itself, right? It's like suitcase carry for like 5 kilometers, So allow that stopped. So things like that stopped. So I cut out things that were additional to what I needed to do and preserved my well-being, if you like. So and made my meals and that I needed to make, and they ate them and they liked them. Okay, they had more or less the same foods all the time, but it was fine.
Would you say that this process allowed you to give yourself a bit more care and time, whereas before it potentially was all about the boys?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. So everything I ever did was always about the boys, everything, right? And now it's really about the process made me think more about myself, putting myself first, what my needs were, and then what I needed to do. And then now it's and that actually kind of like also expands to everyone else as well. I don't really socialize with people that I don't feel like I need to or want to. That I want to. I no longer just go and do something because I feel that I'm expected to. I just be like, no, sorry, I can't do that. And so I actually choose, and I'm a bit more selective now about what I do. So this process has been quite good in that sense. It's also helped me. It's funny because I still can't explain it, how it's helped me in my career.
Okay, go for it.
I can't, and it's kind of like really difficult to explain, but I've kind of like become a bit more focused in my meetings. I drive more. I seem to be achieving a hell of a lot more. And I don't know how this is all connected. I really don't. And it really does. Yeah, it still gets me today. But maybe because I apply the same sort of principles in my work, maybe,
Have we got some examples of where you feel like you're achieving more or focused or driving more?
I think I'm just a bit more direct in my meetings, a bit less beating around the bush.
Yeah.
I think I'm concise and to the point. And I eliminate, like, so how someone famous one day said, if you accept a meeting, if you send out a meeting series, like every week, the same meeting at the same schedule at the same time, and you actually just go through that meeting because you think that you need to, and there may be nothing to really to discuss. Well, I think it's Elon Musk who said that. Well, if you actually remove that, you find that you've actually created some space as well, and the meetings that you do and the things you do need to discuss, you're actually structuring in a way that you're being more time efficient and
resource. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Well, it is Elon Musk. I think he said something like he doesn't know why everyone sets the default 30-minute calendar. Yeah. He builds it out in like 5-minute chunks.
Yeah. Yeah. So I kind of like started to do that. I sort of like have 15-minute catch-ups rather than just put in default half an hour or a default hour, which is what people do. There's just little things I've done, since the process.
Brilliant. How do you think it's changed you as a parent?
I think that they're quite pleased that I have a purpose, that I feel like I have a purpose now. Makes sense? It's almost like they look at me and then they say to me, right, so you got any PBs lately,
Oh, nice.
And if I say, oh yeah, my lats are not showing, and they're like, no, they are showing. If you do this, they'll show, and that. Because I think it's quite nice because they know that I'm actually like into this self-development, self-improvement, self-development, and it's aligned to my goals, it's aligned to what I've always wanted to do. Let's put it that way. Oh my God, that's it. I've always wanted to look and feel like I do now. It's been years, right? But I've never expressed that. And I did that to them via the journey and then via the shoot, because they both came with me, my sons.
Yeah, I gotta say, your son's got some serious size. They got a good potential in really building some serious muscle.
Yeah, I know. Shame we're not all 20 again, eh?
Yeah, I was impressed when I saw the pictures of your son. I think it might be the older one. In one of those shots, I was thinking, damn, this guy's got. Yeah, he's not messing about with his training.
No, and he doesn't even train that much. You'd think he trained a lot, but he does it. So yeah. Anyway, yeah. So we kind of like get on. Yeah, we've always got on anyway, but it's quite nice to have a common ground to relate on.
And describe the experience of the photo shoot. How did it go? What did it feel like, especially with your boys there?
Yeah, I think something like a photo. It's big. It's the unknown. I didn't know about that. There's a whole world out there that does this on a regular basis. But yeah. Yeah, honestly, oh my God. I think everybody has to do a photo shoot at least once in their life just to get there. What's it called? Feedback.
Yeah, the memory.
Feedback, yeah, and the memory, yeah. It was fun, because and it does amaze you about what you actually look like. With the spray tan, and it just does amaze you because I wore kit in my photo shoot that I don't train in on a daily basis. I'm like Shona, I train in baggy trousers and baggy t-shirts and cover myself up big time. I look like I just crawled out of bed. I don't put makeup on and do my hair. So it was quite nice it was actually a bigger day than probably my wedding day was, thinking about it. Yeah, it was really good. Everyone should do it. It's fun.
Amazing. And how have you found transitioning out of the photo shoot into consolidation, into investment, and sort of life on the other side of the checkpoint?
Yeah, so consolidation, oh my God, all the tips that R&T give you and the advice and the articles and the coaching in advance of the consolidation was the stuff that helped me get through consolidation with ease. So I approached consolidation with so much caution that because I was so scared, right, that I just didn't want to bounce back to and reverse it all within a couple of weeks. So I trod carefully, and I got there step by step, day by day, and followed what I'm supposed to do, followed the plan, carried on, was actually fine. After 3 or 4 weeks, I was out of that, and then I was into investment, and I was on my way to getting PBs again and managing my diet. And I'm actually on more calories now and seem to be fine. And now I think I've actually settled at my maintenance level. Yeah.
How have you found moving away from photo shoot condition into your into finding your sweet spot, because they're not the same and they can often be a difficult balance and difficult adjustment?
Yeah, it was actually really difficult because everybody will always love their lean shoot, photo shoot look, right? There's no way you can't not love a look like that, where also everything hangs off really well and you can walk out in whatever you want and stuff like that. But in terms of health and well-being, you're not at your best at that lean weight. Yeah, you're not optimally performing as a human being at that level, because I wasn't, right? So I think that helped me come to terms with adding a bit of body fat on and getting to maintenance level, because if I just stuck to the aestheticness of it all, and the love of the look more, then I wouldn't have made it. But because I thought, no, hang on, this is true, my bone mineral density, everything else that you've got to factor in, is important, is critical. So if you factor in all that, then that will help you to adapt to your maintenance. And your maintenance doesn't have to be that much higher than your lean weight, right? It's just the weight that you feel that you are performing well at, and sleeping well and energy wise, etc. And the more caution you take in reaching that, the better, because what you don't want to do is underdo it. But when you're underdoing it, you'll soon realize that you need to step it up a bit, the calories. Your body will tell you that. And your coach will help you, because my coach helped me get to grips with that extra body weight. Yeah. But don't also, on the other hand, I didn't want to stretch I don't want to put on too much too soon, because then I didn't want to then have to go down again.
Yeah.
So I think it was 1% rise every 2 to 3 weeks was expected.
Until you find your sweet spot. Yeah. So that's spot on. How was the physical being the vehicle for you so far, Premila?
Yeah, really. Honestly, absolutely. What I love most about the physical being the vehicle for me is the fact that I've actually become a tidy upper since R&T. I don't have much junk in my house now. I don't hoard many things, because I just get up and tidy a drawer or something, or clean a cupboard out. It's amazing if you scoot low enough to the ground and you clean out a cupboard, you actually stretch your lower lumbar spine and your glutes and your legs and that really well in that squat position. It's a Hindi squat position, and you can do a lot of stretching and mobility in that way and clean your cupboard out at the same time. So the physical is the vehicle for me, because I actually like to step out and get off my desk in between meetings and just move, and before that was a chore.
Yeah.
But now it's more, not only a chore, it was more like, did I need to do it? No, I didn't need to do that. I've just trained, in the gym. I don't need to keep moving, for crying out loud. But actually I do. And that's what keeps me energized, really. So throughout the day, just keep moving. It really does help. The fresh air, stepping out. Oh yeah, I discovered what fresh air was like through R&T. It's really I love my walks, just stepping out, listening to a podcast is really nice. Sometimes even deplugging, and just being mindless about it all. So it's all really good. And I shall keep that with me, I think.
Incredible. What are some of your future goals now that you're into the investment phase? What sort of PBs are you wanting to hit? Have you got any running goals? Because I know you're a keen runner as well.
Yeah, but you know what? Since R&T, I know now, there's another huge learning I did, right? Progressive overload. I never actually freaking understood what that word meant, because I tell you something, I was bench pressing the same dumbbell weight for 6 years. And I read somewhere that you said that if you're still pushing the same weight as you were 12 months ago, you're never going to change your composition. And that is remarkable, because now, since R&T, I have some indicators that I've created of my own, bench pressing, one of them. What's my other one? My other one is RDLs, and my other one is Bulgarian split squats, because God loved them. No, everybody hates them, right, except me. I don't know why I love them. And then I like so I've got a couple of lifts that I'm indicating. They're my indicator lifts, and I actually use them now as indicator lifts. Whereas before I just used to just turn up and do what I felt like doing, and then if I wanted to go a bit lower that day I would, and blah blah blah. But now I have indicator lifts, and I intend around this time next year I intend to increase my indicator lifts by a substantial amount. for each. But with form and everything that I've learned through R&T. But yeah, definitely going to make progress in terms of my strength. In terms of my running, I think I'm going to have to take a back seat with my running because I actually prefer strength training.
Nice.
And when I run, it compromises my strength ability because, hybrid training is not as easy as it looks by yourself.
It's hard. Very hard.
On Insta.
Yeah, it's very hard. I'm still trying to get to grips with it all. I know we've discussed like putting something together for it, but I'm like every week I'm like, oh, I did that wrong, overcooked it here, should have recovered more here. So it's very difficult.
And that's why runners historically, like, you did a podcast with some runners about, a while ago, and I listened to that. And historically, 25 years ago, when I first runners didn't do any strength training.
No.
But the benefit I got from R&T, progressive training, consistently training through R&T for a year, right, has empowered my run. So, the leg exercises, the calves, the glutes, the hammies, the quads, they're all present now in my run. Whereas before I didn't feel them per se. But now that empowerment is there and you can feel it in a run. So all this strength stuff, that consistent strength training, that R&T, I know it's the same exercises and it's over and over again, same old stuff, but it's amazing how much difference it makes.
Amazing. What almost kept you from joining over a year ago?
So there were two things, wasn't there? There was one, I would never put myself out there, but now I was scared to, right? I think I was scared. No, I just wasn't comfortable in it, right? It wasn't beyond my comfort zone to be out publicly out there, but you don't have to be, right?
No.
You can you don't have to be. I found that you can actually use your cohort. You become friends with people on your cohort, and your coach is on your side the whole journey, through the whole thing. And secondly, it was a money, but it's funny how interesting I say that, because I used to think it was a money, but I don't think it was, because I used to be a member of David Lloyd Northwood, and that is a really expensive gym. And when I joined R&T, as a compromise, I stopped that gym. I said to my family, I'll stop my expensive gym and I'll join R&T instead. And I joined a gym that had the equipment that I needed, right? And served me just as well, but was about £160 cheaper per month. So you can imagine my gym cost, right? And my fancy gym did do nothing for me, did it? Because not really. So you say money, but let's think about it, guys. I'm investing in the older lady me here. Yeah, we're all investing in the older person, whoever you are, right? We're doing this for our health. So it's almost like, if you're worried about the money, then think about where you're spending your money, where else you're spending your money. It might be an expensive gym that will serve you the same as a normal gym will, and be open 24 hours than the one that's actually £160 less. So you're actually in a better place. And then you can use that money on a coach, etc., which is what I did for R&T. And then the second thing was putting yourself out there. Don't worry about putting yourself out there, because that's as much as you want to, right? You can,
Amazing. What would you say to someone who's on day one today?
You're so lucky. I wish I was you. I'd love to do. This is a journey that I'd love to do again, and I would do this journey again without thinking. And honestly, make the most of your journey, because it's really special. It's life-changing, and it will put you in a much better place. It will add so much value to your life and your well-being that honestly, you'll be in a natural high forever. So make the most of it. Speak to your coach. Use your coach as your what's it called? What did I use my coach for? As a sounding board, but what was it? Counseling. If you feel like crying, just tell her that, or tell him that. If you feel this is whatever you're feeling, just tell your coach. It's really important.
Fantastic. Thanks so much for sharing your journey, Premila. Being so honest, I think a lot of people are going to draw a lot of value from what you've said. I'm excited to see your journey continue.
Thank you. Thanks very much. Take care.